Skool just dropped the new tiers feature, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it to scale your membership revenue without confusing your members or complicating your business. But here's what most people don't realize. This feature has hidden capabilities that go way beyond just different price points. Tiers can transform your community into a self-ascending funnel where members naturally upgrade themselves. I'm going to share my screen and walk you through the exact setup that we're helping our clients implement, revealing the hidden features that most people are missing, and also show you the psychology behind the tier structure that actually converts. Plus, I'll show you some of the biggest mistakes that we're already seeing people make, killing their conversions before they even start. So if you're ready to turn your Skool community into a revenue-generating machine, then let's dive in. To begin, I'm going to show you where to find the tiers feature initially. So inside of your settings, you're going to head over here to pricing, and here's where the multiple tier options live. So number one is a subscription. This is what Skool ultimately had when we were first getting started, which the negative with this was that you'd have to have multiple Skool communities if you wanted different price points, or you would need to go and change your about page pricing so that someone could join at different prices. Now you'll see that there's multiple additional levels available. So one is freemium. This is if you want to have a free community with up to 2 paid tiers in addition to that. One thing to note is that on your About page, which is the one place that you would send traffic to actually join your community, it's always going to show the lowest price of your tier plan. For example, if you're using freemium, your community would still appear to be free. If you want to leverage the 2 to 3 paid tiers, that would be right here, or you can still just do this community as a one-time payment, which I really don't recommend because then it's not really MRR. It's just one time. But if you're collecting a pay in full up to $10,000 at the time of this recording, then you could do that just through a one-time payment. All right, so let's talk specifically about tiers here. So let's say you wanted to have a 3-tiered community and you wanted each one to be paid. So let's say this first tier you had at $9 a month. You could charge monthly or annual. So if you want, you could do at least a 20% discount there. So let's just do this one monthly only. And then let's say this one is even $249 a month. Let's do monthly and annual of $24.90, for example. We'll change this. And then let's say we do want a VIP. This could be something like, let's see, like $970 a month. Or let's see, even annual. What would we do here? Maybe like okay, so that's right below. So let's do like 9,500, something like this. Okay, so let's just say that this is our pricing structure. What you would need to make sure that you're doing really well here is you have very clear benefits for your offer. So as I would typically call this in another YouTube video, your offer stack. Now, what's really cool about this is, let's say someone's on your premium tier and they're exploring your classroom or they're seeing events on your calendar. They could then upgrade into your VIP tier with the click of a button. It's really 2 clicks, right? Click 1 shows all your tiers. Click 2 would be them upgrading, right? Or they could downgrade if they prefer the standard and they're not using all the features of premium. So the cool thing here is to show the benefit of standard and really put that against premium. So for example, let's say in premium, you have a core curriculum. So this might be a step-by-step implementation journey. I don't want you to just call it a course. Personally, I don't love that. Maybe here they get weekly sales clinics. Let's just pretend you have a sales community. So they have weekly sales clinics. Maybe here they also have a client success check-ins weekly. So they have an accountability partner, for example. Maybe up here, this is where you start implementing what I would probably say is everything in previous tiers. For example, whoa, maybe I can type. So you could say something like everything in previous tiers plus something like, say you do accountability pods, things like that, right? Maybe here they even get like 1-to-1 weekly coaching with you. I don't know, whatever your offer is, right? And then maybe in the benefit, whatever they get for $9 a month. So maybe this is a monthly masterclass. Okay, so I'm not going to fill in all these. I just want enough to give us an example here. Okay, so now let's see. Previous free members get, if there was free members, okay, they get the standard tier. You could also add a 7-day trial. In order to do that, you have to save your work, and then it will allow you to trigger on a trial. Now, real quick side note, do I like trials? Sometimes I don't. I've had some clients come through and they did have a 7-day trial. And then as soon as we turned it off, they still signed just as many clients and they just paid straight away. So I think it just depends on your audience and how warm they are coming into your community. If they're warm enough to just sign up, then a trial wouldn't be necessary, but it does remove some of that initial resistance to getting that person to just one-click join, okay? Because remember, your About page is designed as a sales page. It's a video sales letter for your business. So ideally, you're driving all traffic to that sales mechanism, that conversion system, that would sell your tier, which once again, it's going to be the lowest tier on that About page that you have, and they'll be able to upgrade at a later point. Okay, so that's how you would initially set up your tier structure. I think in order to do this properly, you really need to understand who your ideal client is and what offer they would need to see on the front end to actually click join, because you don't want to have an offer on the front end that wouldn't resonate with someone who'd be a VIP level client. You want to make sure that you're attracting the right avatar through the front end of your funnel. So with that being said, I'm going to walk you through some of the cool ways that you can leverage tiers now. So this is in our Magnetic Memberships team only channel. This is something we just started building in the past week for our team SOPs and our playbooks, which is really cool. So you'll see that in here. We haven't released it to our team yet, but it's something we're building on the back end. So if you want me to do a whole breakdown and tutorial on exactly how to leverage a Skool community specific for your team in your SOPs, then drop a comment below this video and I can film that next. Okay, so inside of here, this is really cool. I'm going to give you like a hidden benefit to tiers that you're probably not thinking about right now. So automatically, this is really cool. So let's say at your premium level tier, so that tier 2, the $250 a month in my example, let's say that you're going to host a workshop. I know I didn't put this in the offer stack, but just bear with me. Let's say you're going to host a monthly workshop, but this workshop is like, for example, let's just do, Monday, money mindset workshop. Oh my gosh, maybe one day I can type here. And then you'd put a description for what that workshop is. So this would be like, for example, this might be December's workshop is a money mindset workshop. Okay, now this part's really cool. You could do buy now. So maybe you would charge $249 for this money mindset workshop, or maybe it'd be something like $497. I don't know. But let's just say for the sake of this, it's $497. Okay, someone could choose, if they're not in tier 2, to either buy this for $497, or if they're in tier 2 premium, they would get access to it automatically. So what does that do? That further justifies them upgrading to tier 2 in order to unlock this thing that would have otherwise cost them $500. So it's doing that, which is built-in ascension. And the other thing that it's doing for your paid members who are on that tier 2 is it's constantly showing them that they're getting more value than what they're actually paying for your membership. So if I'm in tier 2 paying $250 a month, and every month I get a workshop unlocked for me that would otherwise cost like $500, that's further anchoring in the value and my need and desire to stay a member in tier 2, because I'm automatically getting this thing that this company is actually charging other people for. So it just anchors the value of your membership, making it really sticky. Sticky, assuming they show up and actually, get value from the workshop, right? That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, so that's one of the ways you can do this, which is really great. So obviously inside of something like this, if it's something that hasn't happened yet, then what you could do is on this page here, you would give them workshop details. So for example, you would say like, okay, let me just break this down how exactly I would do this. I would put workshop details, and then inside I might give them like a quick breakdown of what to expect, then guide to the calendar to add to their schedule. So I might do something like this inside. Now, what do you do on the actual calendar then? This is where it gets really fun. So let's just say that I create my own event, which this would be money mindset workshop. Whoa. Okay, so we already know this is unlocked for someone at level 2 or tier 2, or they have to pay for it. So what you would do is you would choose members in, and you would choose that course, because that's doing both things at once. They'd either pay for it and unlock it, or they'd be a part of that tier. So you would basically just add all of your workshop information in here, which I'll do this just for fun, just so you can see. None of this will matter for our example here. So we would press add. And now once this is inside, that's how they would view it. So let's just take a peek real quick and see how this looks. So we're going to view our classroom as a non-member. So see, all of these are private. This one here is unlocked for $497 or upgrade to premium, which if you click this, see what happens. with one click of a button, I can just upgrade. Crazy. Or unlock with premium. This shows you the different tier options that you can just try now for free because you're on a 7-day trial. Remember that was toggled on. Okay. So that's one of the ways. And now if you see the calendar tab, how that looks here is if we're a non-member and we click this, it'll say that we don't have access. I'm hoping eventually this would actually just say like, hey, you need to be on premium to access this. That should be something that they fix. Okay. Going into here, and I actually wonder if we were to actually just lock this to premium. Let's just try that. Members on/above. No, this would be members on/above premium. Let's save this and let's check out what this one would look like. Previewing it. Unlock with premium. So I like this better, at least at the time of this recording. For upgrading, you'll have to try it because if this one was unlock with premium, then that would mean you'd have to manually unlock the workshop for someone who just paid for it, or put the event details inside of that classroom. That probably would be the easiest thing. If you just right here were to just add in inside, if you were just add in the Zoom link and the day and time of the recording or calendar invite, then that wouldn't matter. So just want to put that into perspective. Okay, moving on. So now with the calendar, I've shown you how you can lock events specifically to tiers, or you can lock it to a course in your classroom. What you can start to do here, like let's say that we have a new course. This course is specifically for, let's say, live group coaching, because remember, that didn't start until tier 2. So what we would do is we would make this a private or members on or above the premium tier. So that would mean that this does a couple things, okay? Let's say that I'm a non-member and I'm exploring your classroom and I see live group coaching, and you probably have a description down here like, hey, join us every week for going through the content pillars of mindset, marketing, and sales. If I want access to live group coaching every single week, I'm going to see that that's available in the premium tier. So this further anchors the value of your offer, okay? And what's also really neat about that is, let's pretend on your calendar you have weekly group calls every single week locked to that premium tier. Once again, I'm going to see those. I might get a little bit of FOMO and be like, hey, I actually want help in integrating this and implementing it. So I might just one-click upsell because I want access to the group coaching. So you're able to pull different elements of your offer, lock it to the specific tier with or without a price, and then people can be exploring your classroom and see where they'd want to upgrade because of that. Okay, so it's pretty cool how you can start to build this out inside your classroom and calendar specifically. This is a question that I had when I first was starting to use Skools, and that was, well, if I have different tiers, do we need a separate community or a community area where they could congregate if they're a part of, say, the VIP tier, and they're not just congregating with every single other member that we have in this community? And the answer to that is no, at least not at the time of this recording. And I did hear on one of the Skool news that Sam said, hey, everyone is asking for that, but I don't think it's an actual need that you will actually have. Because in reality, if you think about this, if you zoom out for a second, if you were going to celebrate something, or you had a question, or you had a concern, or anything you really just wanted to create a post about, the reality of it is we're in a world where people like more people interacting with their content. Whether it be liking it or leaving comments, you want the majority to be engaging with your stuff. And so if we eliminate that to, let's say you had like 3 people in like the VIP tier, so tier 3, you only have 3 people in that community. You might think they want to interact with just each other, but the reality is they probably want to interact with the big group where they're going to get even more feedback or more celebrations on them in their content. So I think it's also just a misconception. And once he said that, I actually realized there's a lot of truth in that. So I also find like we have 2 separate communities. We have one free and low tier, and we have one just paid. And I've noticed that our paid members from our separate community actually tend to post more in our free community. And that's not because we ask them to or even say that they should. They just do it. So I think there's a lot of truth to this. So something to be said there. Okay, just looking back at what you can do inside of courses, I just didn't want to leave anything out. So you could make this unlock at a certain level. So for example, like let's say they would get a month of one-on-one coaching with you. Access for normal level standard tier would start at level 9, or maybe they would get it if they upgraded to VIP. So you're saying, hey, you could wait and keep engaging to unlock this thing, or you can just upgrade and you can get access to it now. I showed you this one. Time unlock is maybe access starts at like 120 days, or if you upgrade to premium, or if you upgrade to VIP. So there's just really strategic ways that you can be using this. So I just want you to start to think about how could you start with just the offers that you already have I think a mistake that I'm seeing right now is people are either shifting their offers really drastically or coming out with a bunch of new offers thinking that's going to ultimately solve their problem of maybe their business not growing or not getting as many leads as they would have hoped. And I don't believe that more tiers is going to solve that problem. You have to be solving the right problem right now. So who is tiers ultimately for? Well, this would be for someone who already has traffic and an audience, and you've maybe even done some market research to see exactly what offer your people are looking to sign up for. And if you have that data, then going and building at least one tier to start would be a good move, right? It'd be a great move for your business and focusing on that MRR or the annual revenue that you get from that. And I would even say that the higher the tier, the more access they get to you or your team or your knowledge, right? So they either get like a higher level course, more access on group calls, or even some one-on-one elements if you're open to scaling with something like one-on-one, which I do recommend. You could even replace yourself in those one-on-ones. Like that's conversation for another day, but you can hire with a team. So that would be my recommendation in initially using tiers. And now let's just go back here to the about page because I want to show you that once again is showing your lowest ticket item on the front here. So if you didn't want this to show low ticket, you wouldn't have it, or you'd need two separate communities still at this point. But I think it just depends on your business model, what's going to be best for you. I can't say there's one size fits all, but these are just some of the cool strategies that I'd be rolling out with tiers. So at this point, what we're running inside of Magnetic Memberships is a 30-day push. This is to teach you how to create the content that goes inside of not just your Skool community, but other Skool communities that you're inside of all across Skool. And so we're going to be revealing the secrets that we usually just keep private for our paid clients of exactly how they can be creating content using specific frameworks that help to attract, nurture, and convert their ideal clients. And so if that's something that interests you, even if you're a little bit late to the party, it's okay. You could come in because we host challenges like once a quarter. So even if you're a little late on this one, it's all good. We'll host another. But this one specifically, we're even giving out a cool prize like an Osmo Pocket 3, which is our camera that we use while we're filming in the wild. I'm not using it right now because I'm inside, but it's one that we use very, very frequently to film YouTube and also ads and just content for social media, and it's amazing. So if you're looking to learn better content strategies for your own Skool community, or you're open to winning a really cool prize of how we film in the wild with the Osmo Pocket 3, then click the link below this video and I'll see you inside of Magnetic Memberships.